Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist, and today I'm going to be doing a Nordic deck profile. So I'm really excited for this one because I absolutely love the Nordic archetype. It's a really fun deck, and it's actually my most viewed deck profile on my entire channel at 30,000 views, which is absolutely crazy. I think it might be 31,000 now. But it's a really crazy thing that this deck is my most viewed deck profile. It's a really fun deck, and I've really taken my time with Master Rule 5 and really made this deck where you can summon multiple Aesir monsters, or the multiple Odin, Thor, and Loki onto your side of the field at the same time, which is really crazy. So, without further ado, guys, let's get straight into this. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell on this so you can become part of the notification squad. And before we get into this, guys, I really quickly want to mention we do have a Patreon and Ko-Fi if you guys would like to become patrons or donate to the channel. I do much appreciate all of that you guys do for the channel. So, let's get straight on into this. So, first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Vanadis of the Nordic Ascendant. So, Vanadis' effect is basically that she can be used as material for any of the Nordic synchro monsters, which is really cool. And she can also send a Nordic monster from your deck to the graveyard and then make her level the same as that monster's, which is really cool as well, to be able to Foolish Burial something to the graveyard. And it's just a really good card. And then once per turn, yeah, you can send a monster from your deck to the graveyard and then change this card's level to that monster's, which is really, really good. Alvis we play as a 3 of. Alvis is the one that you always want to draw into with Golvig, so you can just really quickly use it with Golvig to be able to put multiple Nordic monsters on the field. The day this card is banished by the effect of a Nordic Link monster, you can send this card to the graveyard, and then 1 Nordic monster you control and 2 Nordic monsters from your deck whose total level equal 10, and then special summon 1 Aesir monster from your extra deck. If an Aesir monster you control, if an Aesir monster you control in your possession is sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card, and then banish this card from your graveyard to special summon 1 Aesir monster from your extra deck with a different name from the cards in your graveyard. Which is why we play Loki at 1, is because you can just not worry about Loki and then summon Loki afterwards if one of your Aesir gets banished by the effect of Alvis, which is really, really cool. I play a single copy of Golfax. Golfax is really good because it's kind of like a Cyber Dragon if your opponent controls a synchro monster, which we might see more of. So Golfax might, go up in number in this deck, but it's a level 4 tuner monster that just instantly special summons itself out, which is really cool. We play 3 copies of Tingosnir, which Tingosnir is, if this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 2 Nordic Beast tokens from your, just any 2 Nordic Beast tokens. Like, you can just special summon on the field that are level 3, which helps us go into other synchro monsters. Tinosnir, I think that's how you say it. When this monster you control is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon this card, or when a monster is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you just instantly get to summon this one onto your side of the field. And then once per turn, when this defense position card is changed to face of attack position, you can special summon a Nordic Beast monster from your deck in face of defense position, which is always going to be Golfax as well, because that's the one you're going to want to special summon onto your side of the field to synchro into a Odin or a Thor, because you have to use, into Thor, because he requires the Nordic Beast, where Odin requires the Nordic Ascendant, and then Loki requires the Nordic, which one does he require? Loki requires the Nordic Allfair. Each one of them requires a different kind of tuner. It messes me up. That's why I just use Vanadis all the time, if I'm going to synchro summon for one of them. I played 2 copies of Mimir. Mimir is really good in here too, because once per turn at the start of your standby phase, if you can control a Nordic monster, and this card's in your graveyard, you can send a spell from your hand to the grave and then special summon it. So it's really good to be able to link into Golvig on your turn with Mimir in your graveyard. So it's really easy to go into, like, turn 2 or 3. Going into your turn or two or 3, you can use Mimir to be able to special summon back. So we do play a lot of spells in this deck. 2 copies of Valkyrie, the Nordic Ascendant, which is really interesting that the newer versions of this card, I have an older version of this card, but the newer versions actually say this card does not count as a Valkyrie monster. But when this card is normal summon, if your opponent controls a monster and you control no monsters, you can banish 2 Nordic monsters from your hand and then special summon at 2 tokens that are level 4. And then basically it lets you really quickly go for your Odin play, which is really, really cool. Then we play 3 copies of Summoner Monk. Summoner Monk is a good card in here to be able to ditch a spell and then go for something like a Vanadis or an Alvis onto your side of the field to get another monster on the field to be able to synchro summon for a copy of your Odin, Thor, Loki, or just get out one of your monsters that you need, like an Alvis, to link away for a Golvig. But it's just a good card to have in the deck as well. 2 copies of Blackluster Soldier, because this deck does need a little bit more of an oomph behind it, so Blackluster Soldier really helps out with that. Being able to have a 3k body that can attack twice on your side of the field always helps. 3 copies of Ash Blossom as well. 3 copies of Ash Blossom really helps out because you just want to be able to stun your opponent after you put your Odin, Thor, Loki on your side of the field, which is really nice to be able to do. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a single copy of Monster Reborn. Monster Reborn is just a really good extender. 3 copies of Monster Reborn. Aesir's Rock Sunrise basically counts as Monster Reborn because it lets you revive a beast monster on your side of the field, whereas Monster Reborn just lets you revive a monster on your side of the field. So basically you're playing 3 copies of Monster Reborn in this deck. 1 copy of Foolish Burial. Foolish Burial lets us send a monster from our deck to the graveyard, which can be really beneficial with Aesir's Rock, a Sunrise, and Monster Reborn, being able to special summon those monsters out of the graveyard. We played 2 copies of Instant Fusion. Instant Fusion's a big help in this deck because basically it's a good extender that can let you put something on the field like Fusionist, Carbonella Warrior, Sea Monster of Thestalos, or a Millenniumized Restrict or something like that to be able to go into different monsters that you have in your extra deck as well. So just really, really, really good cards that you can actually play in the extra deck. Then we play 3 copies of Hippo Carnival. Hippo Carnival is kind of like my surprise tech card in this deck because basically what this card does is it lets you put 3 tokens on your side of the field. You chain this to the effect of Golvig, which is your extra deck monster that you're going to be going into all the time. And when its effect triggers, you can actually send, like Golvig's effect lists like this. Like Golvig's effect reads like this. If this card is link summon, you can banish 3 cards from your hand and or field. And if you do, you could special summon that many Nordic monsters from your deck. So basically you banish the 3 Hippo Carnival tokens on your side of the field, which I know you wouldn't imagine that Hippo Carnival would be in this deck. But Hippo Carnival basically lets us have that ability to be able to go into those other monsters. To be able to get basically a free Nordic monster onto your side of the field, which is really, really, really nice, I might add. To be able to just instantly put that on the field. Then we play 3 copies of Call by the Grave for our last spell card in the main deck, which is really nice to be able to play the be able to negate hand traps in this deck because you just don't want to have to. You're so reliant on putting that one of Golvig on the field and then using her effect to put all of your other monsters on the field that you just really need the Call by the Grave or an Instant Fusion on your side of the field to negate something like that. With Instant Fusion having Millenniumized Restrict and then Call by the Grave having the negation for the hand trap, you're going to resolve your copy of Golvig all the time. So that's it for the monster, or that's it for the spells. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Glyphnir. I think I pronounced all of these correctly. Like, I hope to God I pronounced all of these correctly. But, basically, Glyphnir lets you add a Nordic monster from your deck to your hand. Now, initially, I wasn't going to play this again in the deck, because I was like, man, it's a trap. It's a little slow. I did have the ultimate rare versions of it, so I was like, man, I really want to play this. But after playtesting with this deck a lot recently, Glyphnir comes in clutch because it lets you get to your hand the copy of any of your Nordic monsters that you need. And with it being a trap, it's not that big of a deal to set it on turn 1 after you resolve your Golvig to add something else to hand that's just going to get you more plays. Like, Glyphnir is really good, and I highly recommend that you guys play Glyphnir at 3. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Odin. I do play 2 of Odin. Odin's a really good card that basically reads that you take a Nordic monster, Nordic Ascendant tuner, and then 2 non-tuner monsters. And then once per turn during your standby phase, you can activate this effect. For the rest of the turn, this card's unaffected by the effects of spell and traps. And then during the end phase, if this card on the field was destroyed by an opponent's card, either by battle or by card effect, and send to the graveyard, you can remove from play 1 Nordic Ascendant tuner monster from your graveyard and then special summon this card from the grave. And then when this card is special summoned, you get to draw a card, which is really nice to be able to draw that extra card and put another 4,000 body on the field. Like, Odin is so good in this deck. I mean, Odin's just a good card in general, but I like Thor. Thor's effect is really good, that once per turn you can negate the effects of all face-up monsters your opponent controls until the end phase, and then during the end phase, if he was destroyed by a battle or card effect by your opponent's card effects, you can remove from play a Nordic Beast Tuner, which is Golfax, from your graveyard to special summon this card, and then if you do, you get to inflict 800 points of damage to your opponent. I played just a single copy of Loki, Lord of the Aesir. Loki's a good one-of that just negates traps, but basically his effect is once per turn, when your opponent activates a spell or trap during the battle phase, you can negate the activation if you destroy it, and then during the end phase, if he was destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can banish a Nordic Allfair Tuner from your graveyard and then special summon him, and then you get to select a trap in your grave and add it back to your hand, which is going to be Glyphnir to be able to just search something else. So Loki's good, but I probably wouldn't play him at more than one. He's probably the worst of the three, even though Loki's my favorite. I mean, I probably have to say Thor's probably my favorite. I like Thor. Team Longhair don't care. One copy of Black Rose Dragon. Black Rose Dragon's really good in here because you just blow up board. It's really easy to make this card as well. So you just play a single copy of Black Rose. Boral Sword because it's easy to link for Boral Sword, but you're not going to always make Boral Sword, but it's a good OTK maker. One copy of Link Rebo because basically you just play the Link Rebo for the Thousand-Eyes Restrict, Millennium-Eyes Restrict. Golvig is the card that you're going to be making all the time. Golvig of the Nordic Ascendant is the best card in the extra deck to be able to get into your Nordic gods. But basically its effect is that you have to send a level 5 reloader Nordic monster from your field to the graveyard. And then if this card is link summoned, you can banish up to 3 cards from your hand or field, and if you do, special summon that many Nordic monsters from your deck in defense position. Also, for the rest of the turn, you cannot normal summon or special summon except Aesir monsters, nor normal summon or set any monsters, which is not that big of a deal because we already normal summoned our monster to go into this card. And then while this card points to an Aesir monster, it cannot be targeted by card effects, and also you're putting out to target this card with attacks. So make sure Nordic monster, your Nordic god, unable to be targeted by card effects, and makes her not be able to be targeted for attacks. So it's a really good ability to be able to use. So just a really good overall card. You're always going to make her in every single game. One copy of Thousand-Eyes Restrict just to be able to gobble up opponents' monsters. One copy of Millennium-Eyes Restrict just to negate hand traps when you're trying to go for Golvig. One copy of Carbonal the Warrior. Carbonal the Warrior is just here for kind of like an extender. That's the only reason I play it as a one-of. And then one copy of Fusionist. It's another extender that helps us go into other stuff. If we have something on the field like a Golfax, you can synchro with the Golfax and then go for you can use the black or the white goat, Tingosinir, to be able to go into with Fusionist and then synchro into Thor as well. So that's just another option for you guys if you want to go for that route. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed this. It's a super fun deck. I hope this video gets as many views as the last one did because it's just a good deck. Like, it's a fun, awesome deck to be able to play around with Nordics in 2020. Now we're in 2020. Oh my God, we're in 2020. So let's get this video all the way up to 30,000 views like the last one, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell on this so you can come part of the notification squad, and I'll see you guys in the next video. See you around, guys.